Okay, in this very first photo we see my first car, which is the blue 1970 or 71 Mercury Cougar. This thing was a really piece of junk. I paid about $100 for it. This is my second car, again about a 1970 Dodge Dart Swinger. This was an excellent car. It was all original in stock, and I wish I still had it. And then in 1985, I bought this 72 Chevelle project car, paid $600 for it, and here it is pictured at my parents' house in Jacksonville, Oregon, and I'm rebuilding pretty much everything on this thing to get it back on the road. It was a fun project car for sure. This old Chevelle needed some body work on it, a little bit of Bondo here and there. I did all that in the first couple of months that I had it, and then I shot it with primer gray. I rattle canned this entire car with Krylon, and I would actually do that twice. In this photo, it is primered gray, and I've taken my girlfriend Tracy up to Crater Lake for an afternoon in the snow early one spring. We had a lot of fun up there. It was a lot of snow. You can see the car sitting with the back end down quite a bit. It definitely needed to be lifted up in the back. We're out playing around in the snow. I sure wish I still looked like that. I was 25 years old, 25 or 26 at that time. We had the entire lake to ourselves. There was basically nobody up there except a couple of young women in the gift shop looking very bored. Did I ever really look like that? I sure don't look like that now. Tracy was a few years younger than me, and our relationship wouldn't last very long. I would take her back up to her home in Madras, Oregon later on in this year, and that would be the end of our relationship. And I never saw her again, and have no idea whatever happened to Tracy. Here I am out in front of her house. Later on the next year, I would primer this entire car black. Again, I rattle canned it with Krylon, as funny as that sounds. But I did a lot of sanding on it and was continuing to get the body nice and straight. Here my friend Sean Badovic is helping me put a 4-inch lift kit under this thing, which would be a big mistake. I'd end up taking that back out later on and exchanging that for big block springs or station wagon springs. Car looked pretty good. I still had the baby moons on it, but I wanted to get a set of Kragers for it, and I would a few years later. In this picture, it looks like I'm getting the car ready for paint. I had a friend in town paint it for me. He charged me $100 and I did all the other work. I basically just paid for the paint. I wanted it bright red with black Super Sport stripes. Did I ever look that skinny? I must have been at one time, but I sure am not now. Detailed the engine compartment after painting. It sure was looking good. Had the original motor still in it. Hadn't done anything with that. Parked near a Indianapolis 500 pace car at my parents' house. Here the paint job is completely done. You see the black Super Sport stripes as I'm parked there next to my dad's old Nova. And now my Uncle Fred and my aunt have their camping trailer down there. And that was the last picture of my dog Chief before he died. Just below my dad's grave in the Jacksonville Cemetery. My dad's grave is below the Chevelle. And here I'm doing the rear end swap. I had to take the original 12 bolt out of it and put a 10 bolt in it because the 12 bolt went bad. In this picture you can see what it looks like after the swap, I believe, or before, I'm not sure, but you can see a difference. I took the lift kit out, that's why it's different. And these are the very last pictures of it, of the Chevelle, when I did the motor change. I did that in 91, somewhere between 91 and 92, when I was living out on Kings Highway, sharing a house with some other roommates. Pulled the motor out, put a brand spanking new short block in it, put a high-rise Edelbrock manifold on it with a Holly 650 polished aluminum double pumper. And I decided to go with the original exhaust manifolds instead of adding headers. I was unfortunately running out of money by this time, and the original exhaust manifolds were still in good shape, so I was forced to reuse them. It sure looks nice and shiny, doesn't it? My pictures really got messed up here. I had them in order, but I don't know what happened. But I'm not going to change it now. There I am, standing in the engine compartment, getting ready to either pull the motor or put it back in. I'm not sure. Thanks to Al Botcher from B&M Wheel Alignment for loaning me his cherry picker and the engine stand. He was my next door neighbor at that time. All ready to go to put back in. And now we come to the sad part, the last pictures of my Chevelle in 1997 before it was totaled out there on the street. Well, these pictures have really got jumbled up during editing. Here's a picture from 5 or 6 years earlier of another girlfriend, Kelly, sitting in my car parked on the street here. And that's Kelly sitting on top of her car. My Chevelle at my parents' house in Jacksonville, Oregon. Snow at my house around 1987 or 88. Snow at my parents' house. Somewhere up around Mount McLaughlin, I do believe, by looking at the Cinder Road. Again, here's Tracy up at Crater Lake in the snow. Tracy standing by the car in the empty Crater Lake parking lot. Tracy under a big bank of snow up on top of the Crater Lake parking lot area, and now I'm being a fool and standing underneath that bank of snow. And that's it for all my Chevelle pictures. Hope you enjoyed.